Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm trying on the new Dior BackStage, the 1011 in Silver Essentials. When I first saw the photo of this, I knew I had to pick it up. I think it's going to look really gorgeous, and I haven't tried it on yet. And there's a couple of other products that I picked up a while ago and I haven't had a chance to film. And one is Skin Tint, and that is the Hourglass one that was released, was it about 2 months ago now? And I also picked up a blush from the brand Violet FR, and it's the Bisou blush, and I picked up the shade Louise. It's a beautiful brown with some pink in it. It is really gorgeous. So I've already got my primer on, and because I'm using a skin tint and this does give a glowy finish, I've put on a mattifying primer, and that is the new Chanel one. Although it doesn't matte down to a dry finish, it just gives a really beautiful canvas and just helps my skin from getting that little bit too oily. So I picked up the Hourglass Veil Skin Tint. It was probably, might have been 2 months ago now. It's hard to keep track of time. So the weather was a bit cooler. It is now in the middle of spring here in New Zealand, so the temperatures have come up a bit. Now I will say straight off that I do like this. It is a very sheer finish, and for those of you that like that type of finish, you will like this. Now I do have oily skin, so this is really geared for me more in the cooler months. So that is late autumn, winter, and early spring. I don't think this would last on my skin in the middle of summer, but in saying that, it is really beautiful, and I wanted to show you what it was like. Now I picked up the shade 7. I wasn't sure what shade I would be in Hourglass. They can be a bit strange with these shades sometimes, but the shade 7 works really well for me. So this product is made in Italy. It has a shelf life of 12 months from date of opening, and it says that the finish is a dewy glow, and I would agree with that. And included in the many skincare benefits in this squalene and also hyaluronic acid. If you want to take a further look at the ingredients, I may, if I can, take a screenshot and pop it up here, but if not, you can always take a look at the Hourglass website. The benefits of this is it's hydrating, it's plumping, and all day wear. I don't know whether it is plumping. It may give that effect because it has more of that glow finish. The other thing they say with this is to give it a really good shake, so that's what I'm going to do. So I've worn this probably about 4 or 5 times. So this is the texture of it. That does seem quite a bit, but I don't think it'll be too much. Now, I've tried putting this on using my fingers with a beauty blender and also a brush. I think for me, the best way of putting this on is with a beauty blender, and that's what I'm going to do today. I didn't find it went on very well using my fingers at all, but then I hardly ever put on a foundation using my fingers, so that might be the reason. And I just thought with a brush, it didn't quite give the finish that the beauty blender does. And because this is a tint, it is just going to give that very sheer finish. It is slightly buildable, so you can see I've just added a little bit more, and just gonna build on that. And especially when you use a sponge, product tends to be a little bit more sheer anyway, but it does build up really lovely, but you're not going to get any more than that sheer coverage. But I do think that it evens out the skin beautifully, and it does give a really natural finish. I do have to powder this down, otherwise with my oils they'll just come through just that little bit too much, even in the cooler months. But if you're looking for a sheer foundation, you have oily skin, then this does look really lovely. You can still see, once I've put it on, that's with building up as well, you can still see a little bit. It's not really red much. I sort of got that fixed a few months ago, but I've got a sunspot here, a tiny bit of the colour that's not quite the same here through here, and it comes through. But I think that is actually a really nice finish. So if you're comfortable with how your skin looks, then I think you would really like this. So as usual, with just what's left on the sponge, I'm just going to tap some over my eyelid and also under my eye area as well. Now the other thing is you can always just put this on, have that sheer coverage, and if there's bits that you want a little bit more, you can always add a little bit of concealer here and there. And I thought I had too much product to begin with, but it does seem that I'm going to use all that I had. And even when you build this up, you don't tend to get, I mean, there's certainly no cakey look at all. And even though, like I was saying, you're not going to build it up to more than a sheer light coverage, it is buildable. And what it does with these type of products, and I don't have a lot of skin tints, but what it tends to do is just even out your complexion. And if you really want a no makeup type of look, then this is certainly a product that's going to give that. I think it looks really beautiful and really natural. It feels beautiful on the skin. And I don't think there is a fragrance. If there is, I can't detect it. But then I tend to use quite a few foundations that are quite heavily fragranced. Well, they are initially and then they dissipate. But I can't even smell this to begin with. Now, if you've got normal to dry skin, this is going to be an absolutely fantastic product for you. But like I was saying, with oily skin, it's really better for those cooler months. But you might enjoy that. I do with my oily skin. I like it in the change of seasons. So in the summer, when it gets warmer, I use foundations that are a little bit more soft matte. And in the winter, I can change up my foundations and go more to ones that have this type of finish with that glow finish. And I really enjoy changing them up. So off camera, I've just done my eyebrows. I've put eyeshadow primer on and I've put concealer on and just powdered under my eyes as well. I haven't powdered my face yet. I just wanted you to see what this skin tint was like after about 5 minutes or so. So when I feel it, it gives a really beautiful glow. But the thing is, when you have oily skin, is if I leave it like this, it will go from a glow and it will start to look, those oils come through and it can start to look sort of on that greasy side. And as I was saying, it's not hot today, but it's definitely warmer than when I first purchased the skin tint. So the weather just isn't as cool as it was when I first got it. So the powder that I'm going to use is the Chanel, it's the Natural Finish Loose Powder. And I'm just going to grab my Mer, the powder brush, and just pop a little bit of this powder over top. I think it gives a really beautiful finish, really lovely. It just evens everything out. I think it makes your skin look really healthy, and people would not know that you had a foundation on at all, and that's because you can still see my skin through it, but it just perfects it quite a bit, and I think it is really lovely. It's a shame. I do like it that I have oily skin, but sometimes I think I would like it if I could wear this all year round, but I just know it's not going to last when the weather starts to get quite a bit hotter. Because the thing is with skin tints, apart from that Chanel one that I have, that is the Le Beige's one that I can wear all year round. That's just really a different formula. But when you have one like this, and most of them are like this, that have quite a lot of moisturizing ingredients in it, you just really, with the oily skin, just not going to be able to wear it in the middle of summer. So I got a phone call, and I've been talking for about the last at least 20 minutes. I got a phone call from my younger brother, and we were just having a bit of a laugh over a few things. So I forgot where I was up to, but just finished putting the Chanel powder on, and now it just gives an absolutely beautiful finish. So you can see that the foundation is sheer, but I think it looks really beautiful. And for bronzer, I'm going to use the Guerlain, the Terracotta Lights, one of my favorite bronzers, this one, and I have it in quite a few different shades. And today I'm going to use the one in medium warm, and I'm only just going to put a very light amount on. So I'm going to grab a Sonia G brush. This is the Jumbo Bronzer. Swirl it in. So this brush and the Sonia G, the Niji Pro, are probably the two main ones I use for putting on bronzer. And this one I usually use when I just want that lighter coverage. I find that the Niji Pro picks up more product. So for today, if I just want a very light bronze, then this is the brush that I tend to use. So let's open up this Dior BackStage palette. As I said at the beginning, I haven't used this yet. Number 011 Silver Essentials. It is gorgeous. What a beautiful colour story. So I haven't had a chance to take this in natural light like I do with some of the eyeshadow palettes that I get, but I will hold this up just so you can take a closer look. And in here you've got satins and shimmers, and I've just turned down the light a little bit. So I will swatch this on the back of my hand just so you can take a look. Hopefully I can fit all of the 9 shades on. I'll just do smaller swatches. Now for some reason my camera is having difficulty focusing on the swatches and it keeps going out of focus. So these have been swatched from left to right and top to bottom, and there is a mixture of satin, shimmer. There's also a holographic there. I think the lilac shade here is absolutely gorgeous, and also the satin blueberry. What a beautiful, cool color story, really gorgeous. So let's put this really beautiful eyeshadow palette on. I won't be using, obviously, all 9 shades. I'll probably use a few though. I'm going to start with the shade down here. This is a pink satin. This is the Sonia G brush from one of her travel sets. And I'm just going to start off by putting this all over the lid. And you need to go fairly easy. There was a tiny bit of fallout just there. I'm just going to wipe that off. But I think this colour story is gorgeous. So just pop some on the other lid. I've just gone a little bit easy getting this shadow, and that is a lot better. Last time I went in a bit hard into the pan, so it pays just to go just a little bit lighter. Now my camera seems to be going in and out of focus. It wants to focus on the background here, and it's every time I hold this palette up. I think it's because of those silvery shades and it doesn't want to focus on them. So I'm just going to have to keep an eye on that. And next I'm going to go into this mauve shade here. That's a satin as well. And I'm going to use the rephr number 14. These are fairly pigmented. So I'm going to take this one through the crease just to deepen things up and just blend it up. I really like the Dior BackStage palettes. Now I think this is the first one that I've used that is the new formula. These used to have a primer in them, and I did really like that eyeshadow primer. It used to be there, but they've replaced it now just with a normal shadow. But at this stage, with this one here, it seems to be blending out really lovely. There is a lot of payoff. I didn't have to pick up much to get a lot of pigment, and it is blending out really, really lovely. And next, if you thought, I bet she's going to use that deep blueberry shade, you are absolutely right, because that's one I'm going to use next. So I'm going to put this on the outer corner, and I'm going to use a BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy brush. This is the A502. Just pick up a little bit and just start blending this out in the outer corner. So this is a really beautiful, beautiful deep shade, really gorgeous. I'm just taking a clean brush just to go over what I've done so far and just soften out those edges. So next I'm going to take the Sonia G brush, and this one is the soft definer, and I'm going to go back into the shade here, and I'm going to run a little bit under my lower lash line. Then I'm going to take the rephr number 28, and I really want to use this lilac shade here. So I'm just going to pick up a small amount, and I'm going to put that through here over the rest of my lid. And I will probably go over this shade as well, probably with one of the silver shades. Now I'm going to take the rephr number 3 and go back to this blueberry shade and just pop a little bit of this under here, just on the outer third. Then we'll take another BK Beauty brush, the Angie Hot and Flashy one. This is the A501, and I want to use the silver shade here, but I don't want to use too much, and I'm just going to pop that through here, and it just gives it really beautiful icy look. And then I've wiped down the rephr number 3, and I'm going to stay with that silver shade and just run a little bit of that through here. So I am getting through quite a lot of the shades. So this is the Sonia G, this is the pencil one. And now I want to go into this deep shade here. It's a steely dark colour. And I'm just going to put that just on the very outside here. So I've just popped some eyeliner on and also mascara. I use 2 different shades of eyeliner. The top I put on a plum one, and down the bottom I put on a sparkly grey one. And everything that I'm putting on my face today will be listed and linked below. So now let's take a look at the blush, the one that I picked up not too long ago. This brand has just arrived in New Zealand at Mecca, and it's Violet FR, and this is the Bisou blush, and this is in the shade Louise. I think the packaging of these is really lovely. This is supposed to be more of a matte blush, and I'm just going to wind it up. These are made in Italy, and hopefully you can see that, but it has like a marbled effect in it. And this shade is a beige with some pink through as well. And they also wind down, which is important. Sometimes you pick up a product and won't wind back down. And on the other side is a brush you can use to put this on. And the other thing that I like about this is, actually I need to just give this a quick wipe before I use it today, is that it twists off and you can wash the brush. So I think that's really good. You don't have to put the whole product, however you're going to clean it, you can just take that off and clean it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spray some Cinema Secrets onto my microfiber cloth in front of me, and then what I'll do is just wipe this brush over the top. So I just have a little bit of Cinema Secrets there and just wipe that brush over the top. It just cleans the brush, disinfects it, and also it makes the brush pretty clean. So I have used the brush. I probably prefer just to tap it on using my fingers. So one side I will put it on using my fingers, and the other side I will use the brush, just so you can see how it works. So I just take a little bit up like that. Now you can either dab it straight onto your cheek or take some off with your fingers and pat it on. So this side I'll just tap some on there. I think this is a really beautiful shade. Now I don't want to put too much on. My eye look it's quite bold, and I don't think I showed it to you once I had finished it. So I'm just going to show you the eye look now. But I think it is very beautiful. It's that very cool icy look. And it is more on the bold side because I did use quite a few of the shades and quite a few of the deep ones. So I just want to keep my cheeks and the lipstick very light today. So I'm just going to pop on a tiny bit more. And then on the other side, I will swipe some on. And then I'll just turn that down. The brush feels soft. There's nothing wrong with the brush. It's just that I'm more used to, with cream type products, either using my fingers, which I do use a lot, or a beauty blender, or the new Sonia G brush. This one is the sheer buffer, and it is a beautiful brush for putting on cream products. So I'm not sure how much of that was in focus. I looked to my screen and again, it's not focusing. So I just popped this on again with the stick, and I've just been using the brush side just to blend it out, and that is enough blush, and I think it looks really beautiful. What I will do is just swatch this on the back of my hand just so you can take a look at the shade. So this is the shade Louise. It is that beautiful, perfect shade. It's got that pink with that brown mixed in. It's probably one of my favorite shades for a blush. And finally for lipstick, I'm going to use one of the Dior ones. Now this isn't this year's Blooming Boudoir case. This is last year's. This is the Milfory, and I think it is beautiful. Now, the Blooming Boudoir, that has just arrived in New Zealand, so I have ordered the lipstick case. I think these are beautiful. And this is the shade. This is the one Nude Look. And then over the top, I picked up one of the Dior Addict Lip Maximizers, and this is in the shade 050. And this is called Hello Silver. So this is what Hello Silver looks like. So it's the holographic one. And I will swatch it on my hand. I don't know whether, I don't think you'll be able to see too much. And if I swatch it, can't really see too much. But I thought it would look really pretty over just one of the more neutral lipsticks. So here is the final look, and altogether I think this is really pretty. This eyeshadow palette is gorgeous. It is a beautiful, cool colour story. Now today I went more bold than I normally do with my eye looks, as I used more of the deeper shades, but I want to use as many as I can. A really beautiful colour story. You could go lighter with this if you wanted to, just stick to the shade here and just put a little bit on and then blend that out and then pop on this one. I didn't use this shade today. It's a pink and it's a shimmer. Just those two together would look really beautiful, or some of the shades, even a one and done, would be gorgeous as well. But this shade down here, this deep blueberry shade, is absolutely gorgeous. And of course the lighter shade here just really lifted it all. I think it's lovely, and I do like this satin pink down here. So really out of the palette, the only shades that I didn't use, the three, was this one here, this one is that pink shimmer, and this one here. But all the rest, really gorgeous. So I did use more shades than I thought I was going to, and I think it is a really beautiful palette, really gorgeous colour story, and I'm really pleased that I picked it up. And the violet blush is really beautiful. It has a really lovely texture. It is more matte, but it still gives, even though it says that it's matte on their website, there's a little bit of a glow. It's definitely not a flat matte, and I love that shade. The brown and the pink mixed together, I think that is a beautiful shade of blush. And I'm not too sure about the brush. I think that it's great that you can remove it and you can wash it. And if you took it with you when you were traveling and you didn't have a brush with you and you don't use your fingers, then you can definitely use it. It's just that I just tend to use my fingers, a beauty blender, or like I said, that Sonia G sheer buffer. It's not really something, I used it when I first got it, and then I've used it now for the video, but I really probably won't use the brush side of it again. But I do love it that you can take it off and clean it. I think that is a fantastic idea with these type of blushes where they have a brush in one end. And even though you couldn't see much with the swatch with this Dior Lip Maximizer, the Hollow Silver one, it actually did lift the shade of that lipstick, and it gives a beautiful gloss. I love these lip maximizers. I'll have to count how many I've got, and I've actually ordered one more as well. So I'm probably going to have about 10 or 12 in my collection. I love these. I love these on their own. I love them over the top of lipsticks, or you can even just pop them on at the very beginning of your makeup routine just to give that slight plumping effect to your lips, and then pop lipstick over. I think these are really versatile, and these will definitely make it into products of the year for me for 2023. I think they are fabulous. Now the foundation looks really beautiful. And now that I've been going a while, because I had that phone call from my brother, and there's been a few hiccups with my camera not focusing properly and things like that. So this video's gone on a bit longer than normal. And I do have lights in here, so it does warm up the room. It's not overly warm, but even though that I powdered, and of course with my oily skin, you can see that it has gone back to a glow. It feels really lovely. I don't feel like I need to powder it down, and it just gives this really beautiful softness. I think this is a lovely tint, but as I was saying when I was putting it on in the beginning of the video, if you have oily skin, this isn't one really for the summer months. And even though I haven't tried it in summer, I know from the way that it goes on and how that it feels once I've put it on, that it just won't last in that really hot weather with my oily skin. But for now, on a spring day like it is today in New Zealand, for autumn and also in winter, I think this is lovely. It gives a beautiful sheer coverage and just evens out your complexion. I think it is a really lovely tint. So overall, I'm really thrilled with all the makeup that I picked up. Love the eyeshadow palette. I think the color of the blush is absolutely gorgeous and just gives that beautiful wash of color. And the lip maximizer is really lovely too. I love it how it's just lifted that shade of the lipstick just a little bit and also given a really beautiful gloss. So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.